Hi guys, this is Karina from Mommy and Kimberly's Adventures and Testimony. I'm here with another testimony. This is going to be when I was a little girl. I was maybe, I want to say 8 and 9. The experience and the horrific experiences that I went through as a little girl. And the reason why I'm bringing this one up is because I've been having nightmares about it. And, I do see a counselor, and, he shared with me personal things and stuff like that. I'm not going into details with that, but it actually helps me. I love my counselor. I'm a big believer of counseling, and you just have to find that right one for you. If you have any trauma as a kid, as a young adult, or even as an adult, when you're being abused or bullied or live in a toxic family, seek help. It does help. It helps quite a bit, especially if you get that one. Because I've had counselors in the past where it just doesn't work. They're like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, how did that make you feel, honey? You know what I mean. Some of you that are listening to watching this video, if you've been through counseling, it's just like, okay, I'm wasting my time. I've had counselors where I said, okay, I'm done. And then I've had two counselors in my whole 52 years since I've started counseling. He's one of the best. I had one. Her name was Miss Vaca. She was amazing. She would pray with me. She would read the Bible to me. Those were times where I was going through dark times in my life, and she was a blessing. And this particular counselor, oh man, he's amazing. I'm so blessed to have him. I've been seeing him for over a year, and he just listens. He gives you wonderful advice, and he encourages you. He don't just sit there and just hear you. He gives you advice and good advice. I followed it and it works out. Anyways, I know that we have a Lord, God that can help us, but he also provided these doctors for us, or counselors, or a mental health psychiatrist, psychologist. So I'm just throwing it out there. So anyways, I just want to share with you, these experiences. If you are sensitive to this kind of stuff, just click off. I don't want to bring sadness to you. I don't want to bring opening can of worms, I want it to be a blessing and encourage you that it's not okay. And it is sad when we're little and we don't understand the things that are going around us, and we don't have control of it. Anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna share with you a horrific experience that I had. I think I was either 8 or 9. I can't remember, but it was within that time that we live in that particular place. That place I despise. Even up to this day, when for some reason, it's very rare, but for some reason or another, when we have to pass through that little town, it makes me cry, and I rehash, and I could feel, and I could see. It's kind of weird, but the counselor said it's normal when you have a trauma. It was me and my cousins. We were waiting. My aunts. We were waiting outside for the bus to come for school, because we would wait for the bus, to pick us up in the front of our house. We were waiting, and all I remember is we were having a good time. We're just laughing, messing around like we always did, and and we saw on the other side, because it was a highway. Actually, we lived in front of a highway, and on the other side, a truck was coming full of men. In the back of the truck with rifles and guns, and another car behind them was chasing them. So we freaked out, and they were coming towards our house. And I remember we all started screaming. So we from where the yard, halfway of the yard to where we would get the bus, we ran right back to inside. We opened the door and they got off the back of the truck. Put your hands up, put your hands up. And we were like, whoa, we're little kids. We were little kids. And my brother was in there because my mom and my grandma shared half of the house. That's how the landlord rented. It was a big old house, but he rent half out and half the other house. It was a weird situation. I didn't even understand as a kid. And I'll never forget that day because in the back of my mind, when they were chasing, we thought that they were chasing, the car behind the truck we thought that they were chasing them. And when we saw them with they had what do you call that, ski mask on and big old, I believe they were rifles, or I don't know, they were big guns and small handguns, and they pointed it at us. And they actually, when we went into the house, they shot a fire. And even at 9 years old, I still understood. They're trying to hurt us. And they told us to get on the ground. And when they shot, my brother, my 2-year-old little brother, fell to the ground and cracked his head. Blood was just coming out of his forehead. And I was like, oh my God, you shot my brother. You shot my brother. And, in the 8-9-year-old's, I know what's going on, what's going on here, and shut up. And then we got him, and we started, I grabbed my brother, and we ran to my grandma, and she was in the room. We ran and we got on top of her, and she goes, oh, my grandma spoke very little English, and she goes, oh yeah, I'll give you anything you want, just don't hurt us. And my cousin tried to go under the bed and stuff like that, and we're looking for this, and this and that, and we're like, what's going on? I didn't understand. My grandma didn't understand, and they all had us get on our knees with all these little kids. They had us on our knees with their hands up in the air, like, what's wrong with you? And we were like, what's going on? I had blood all over my face and my shirt because my brother was bleeding, and I told him, please call an ambulance. I was freaking out because he had a cut from here to here, and he was bleeding. Oh, shut up, he told me, the officer. Keep your hands up. I said, because my hair was all just like, so I was trying to fix my hair. And he goes, put your hands up in the air. Listen to my instructions. You understand me? And I'm like, yeah, I was shaking profusely because I was like, these people are going to kill us. At that point, I still didn't know that they were cops because they never let us know that they were officers. So they asked my grandma, I remember they were asking my grandma, where is blah, blah, blah. And they don't live here. Well, my mom had rented one of her rooms in that, in that half of that house to a man. I don't recall his name. And I remember them going to the next, my grandma goes, I have nothing to do with this. I don't know what you're talking about. And so they went next door, and all I remember is them handcuffing the renter that my mom rented a room to in his boxers. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And to find out that this man had been selling drugs out of my mom's house. And the people that were chasing, in my innocence, but it's still trauma because the way they treated us as little kids, it makes me sick. It makes me sick. My grandma, like I said, my grandma rented half of the house and my mom rented. It was legit. The house was a big house, but the landlord rents it out half and half. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird, but that's how because they had his own kitchen, its own bathroom, its own kitchen, and stuff like that. And so to find out that this guy had been selling drugs in my mom's house. Now, I don't know if she knew. She said she didn't, so I don't know if she did or I never asked her. I never asked my mom if she knew or not, But they arrested that guy, and we found out that these guys that were supposedly chasing, that were narcos, um, coming to bust the house down for drugs. Basically, it was a bust. I think that's how it's called. I'm not too familiar with that kind of stuff. And they did. But my trauma is when they shot inside the house, because I saw the light, you know, when they shoot a gun, the light right beside me, and they shot up in the air. Because we were running, because we got scared, and we were little kids. We got scared. We ran inside the house with my grandma. She was asleep in the bed, and she was all crying and screaming and stuff like that. And my brother, they dropped my brother. My brother cracked his head. My brother had that scar, you know, when he passed away. He still had that scar. And to think that officers can do that to little kids, it just makes me sick, and it breaks my heart. I'm not saying all cops or narcos are bad. Narcs, not narco, narcs are bad, but man, those were, in my opinion. And that was way back in the day, in the 80s. And that guy got arrested. My mom didn't, because she didn't know, is what she tells the cops, and they took him. And but the thing is my mom rented her side, and my grandma, and I don't understand why they broke into my grandma's house. You know, I could understand in a sense stuff like that, but if I would know the things that I know now, boy, it would be on with the law enforcement, because it was wrong what they did to us as kids, and they made a mistake. They went to the wrong house, let's just say, because it was divided in half, and they assumed that my grandma's house was the one where they were selling drugs, but it was actually my mom's side that she rented from the landlord, because that's the way he did it. Because before we went, there was two different families. You know, we moved out eventually. My grandma still stayed there and rented the whole thing. So it was pretty It was pretty traumatic for me, and I'm sure for my other family members, my grandma. It was just a horrific experience. And yeah, and that's why when I pass through that place, there's a lot of trauma in that place for me. You know, the molestation, um, being mistreated, and it was just a really horrific experience for me. Uh, that up to this day, at 51 years old, I still have nightmares because of it. All I remember is them shooting the gun, and I see that flashlight, and I saw blood coming out on my brother's forehead. And I thought they had shot my brother. But no, in the rush when they were pursuing us and trying to grab us, because that's what they were trying to do, is trying to grab us. And we thought they were robbers, because we were innocent. We were kids. And they were narcs, is what they were. They were busting into my grandma's house with no cause, because my grandma didn't sell drugs, and that was not the case. It was my mom's house with the renter that she had in one of the rooms that was in our side of the house. So yeah, and like I said, if you have trauma in your life, get help. It helps. It helps heal. It helps you hurt so much. You know, if I cry, it's because I miss my brother. He just passed away this month, 5 years ago. Yeah, it's been a couple of days. So I think that's why I get more emotional, because I was so overprotective of my brother, and I took care of him. You know, I was only child for 8 years, and he came along, and I changed him, fed him, combed his hair, and I just miss him, guys. I miss my brother. He was so young. Died in 2019 of the flu. And I just miss him. And I wish he was here, and I wish we could talk for hours like we did. Unfortunately, God needed him more. And my grandma's gone. My mom's gone. I had a hard childhood. Sometimes life is so unfair. Um, but I overcame some of those obstacles, in my childhood. The experiences that I experienced were tough. On life, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy God's children. But you know what? He's under my feet in the name of Jesus. I have the victory in Jesus. Yeah, I cry because it hurts. And they say it's a cycle. And you're trying to, to break the cycle if you can. But sometimes it's really rough, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible to break those curses from generation to generation. Pray for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your great-great-great-great-grandchildren, from generation to generation. Break those curses, because that's what it is. It's a curse. It's biblical. And God has given you the authority to break every bondage. And I thank God that he took me out of that situation. Did things get better? Not really. But I'm here and I'm alive. I'm alive and I serve the Lord. The best decision I could have made. My mom left me the best gift was God. Yep. She always wanted me to go to church. But I just want to share that experience with you guys. Like I said, if you still have nightmares, trauma, please seek help. I know that God could help us, and he does. He helps me so much. I wouldn't be where I am right now, and God knows, and I will share that in another testimony. But if God is for us, who can be against us? It's better to be in Christ than to be out in the world, because it's temporary, guys. God is eternity. And I just want to encourage you to seek help. If you have any trauma in your life, seek help, because the enemy will have you right there stuck. And he'll bring, of course, nightmares to you, because that's his job, to come and destroy you. He don't want you to have the joy, the happiness. So he'll bring the past into your future to bring you down. But remember, you have the victory. You are a child of God. You're a child of God, my brothers and sisters. Hold on to Jesus. Hold on to all his promises. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. Though your mother and your father forsake you, God will never fail you. We're human. We're gonna fail people. We're human, but God will never fail us. So I just want to share that with you and tell you, don't give up. Keep on fighting. There is hope in this lost and dying world, which is Jesus. And also counseling, because it helps. It really does. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to our channel, I wish you would. Until the next time, guys. Bye. And remember, God is good. He is always good, my brothers and sisters. In the good times and the bad times, praise his holy name. I love you, my brothers and sisters. May you all have a blessed day.